So now we need to make it so when the AI player attacks the player character, it will apply damage. So first things first, right click, go to blueprint class, and you want to search for anim notify state. So this one here, I'm going to name this attack trace. I'm going to double click on this, go to functions, override, and we want received notify tick. We're going to apply a line trace here, and the line trace is going to start from the top of the sword to the end of the sword. So off of received notify tick, search for sphere trace by channel. So you can see there's a start and end location here. So we want the start to be the top of the sword and the end to be the end of the sword. So we can do this, we compile and save. And we want to go to our mesh, our skeletal mesh. So you can see the different bones here. We need to add a socket here and here. So we go to sword joint. I've already done it once, but I'll delete these. Excuse me, and I'll show you again. So you want to select your sword joint, or wherever you want the trace to be, the line trace. So you want to select it, right click, and you want to add a socket. I'm going to name this 1 as it's the first one. It's going to be the start. So if we select our translate here, we can move it along. I'm going to use my perspective tools, and I'm going to, so we can apply it with a bit more accuracy. So that should, that's about right. So now we want to apply another socket. So select your sword joint, right click, and add socket. And this is just going to be at the end of the sword here. Again, I'm going to use my perspective tools. I think that will do. So, joints are set up. I'm going to name it 2. And I'm going to save. So if we go back into our anim notify state, off of mesh comp, we can get socket location and attach this to start. So in the socket name, it's case sensitive, so it needs to be exactly the same of what you named your sockets here. So mine's 1 and 2. So 1, I'll copy and paste this. 2 at the end here. Attach my mesh comp here, and I'll attach my mesh comp to sphere trace by channel. So your trace channel needs to be camera, and you want the debug type to be for duration so we can see if it's working or not. And the radius of the sphere I'm going to change to about 50. And just make sure you receive notify tick is attached to your sphere trace by channel, and your sphere trace by channel is attached to your return node. We'll compile and save. What we need to do now is go into our attack montage, and then where it says notifies, right click on the timeline. So here, go to notifies, down to your notify track, and then you want to right click and add notify state, and you can see our attack traces here. So you want to drag this out for the duration of your animation. So my sphere trace is absolutely massive. So we'll just save this. I'm just going to reduce the size of the radius of it way down to about 10 maybe. Let's go back in the montage. Still quite big. Change it down to about 5. That's better. So I'm going to want it to start playing when he strikes forward. So I'll just move this along a bit. I'm playing it about here. And I'll save. So now when I click play, test this, you can see so when it turns green when the line trace overlaps with my character. So this is when it's hitting him. So now we need to apply the damage when this line trace overlaps with our character. So go back into our attack trace. It's quite simple. Just attach to a return node, so alt and left click. You want to go out hit, right click on it, and then split struct pin. Off of our sphere trace by channel, we're going to search for apply damage. And our damaged actor, we want it to be our hit actor. And the damage, I'm going to set to about, just for purposes, I'm going to set to about 1. And that's it. And attach the apply damage to your return node. So compile and save. So now we need to send our player character to sense when damage is taken. So if we go to our third person character or your player character that you're using, go to blueprints, third person character. We're going to set up a variable that's going to represent our character's health. So add a variable, I'm going to name it health. And we want it to be, the variable type to be a float. Make it instance editable. You want to go to your details, I'm going to set what our health needs to be. So I'm going to say it's about 50. Actually, I'll set it to 100. Compile and save. So, the event we want to search for in our event graph, if you right click, is event damage. Event any damage here. You want to get your health. And you want to search for minus, so minus float. And the damage, you want whatever it's going to take off to be your damage, the damage that is taken. So attach it here. And then you want to set your character's health. And then we're going to search for a print string. And just attach your set health to the string here. So when it takes off, so it's going to take off, whatever your damage is, it's going to take off from your health. So every time it's going to be 1, it's going to take 1 off because that's the damage our AI is applying. And it's going to set the health and it's going to print it on us. It's going to print it so we can see how much health it's taking off. So we'll test this. There you can see it's taking off the health now. But we want our player character to be able to take health of the AI. So I'll show you how to do that now. So we go to Edit, on the top left here, down to Project Settings. You want to scroll down to Engine and then down to Input. So we're going to add another action mapping. So as it's easy for me to explain, so if we go to, say, jump here, you can see all the different inputs that activate the jump. So it's good if you're working on different consoles. So say you're working on PC, you want the game to be playable on PC, you can use the spacebar to jump, and then you can see the other controls that can set off the jump, so Vive and Oculus. So we'll do the same for our attack. So we select the plus button as an action to add another action mapping. We're going to change the name to attack, and for now we're going to use as the input, we want our left mouse button. So that's set up. So now if we're going to my third person character, or you go into whatever character you're using, right click, and we can search for that action mapping. So action events, attack. So we're going to use a line trace for our player to attack the AI. So off of pressed, search for line trace by channel. So it's similar, so it's line trace by channel here. So this is similar to our sphere trace, but instead it will fire a line out from any point. So we want it to fire out from our player's camera. So if we get our follow camera, let's drag that in. We're going to search for get world location, and you want to search off a follow camera as well, forward vector, so get forward vector. So off of forward vector, after return value, search for multiply, and we want vector multiplied by float. So this number here is going to be the length of our line trace. So we want to be able to edit this, so we don't want to keep having to come into our blueprint and change this. So what we can do is go to variables, add another variable, and then change the name of this to length. You're going to make it instance editable, and I'll show you why in a minute. Then you're going to change the variable type to float. So now if we drag our length in, our float, we're going to get length and just attach it here. And then off of world location, you're going to plus, you're going to search for plus, and you want vector plus vector. And then attach your multiply to this, attach plus to end, and you want to attach get world location to start. So on the line trace, you want to change the trace channel to camera and debug for duration again, just so we can check if it's working or not. And if we compile and save this, I'll demonstrate why we're going to make these instance editable. So if we exit, and you want to select your player character, go down to details, and you can see if I scroll down to default here, you can see our health and the length of our line trace here. So we'll leave the health at 100, and we'll change the length to 1000. So now when I play, if I left click, you can see it's firing out this line trace here. So this is good for, say, like guns in games. You can change the length, so you can see how far the gun you want the gun to fire out. So when it's hard, I'll show you how to set the crosshair up in a minute. When there, you can see when it contacts, it's green again, so similar to when our character's sword overlaps with us. So now, I'll show you how to set up the crosshair. And whatever happens when we'll set up when the line trace overlaps with our AI character, it will take health off. So if we go back into our third person character, it's exactly the same as when the sphere trace takes health of our player character. So again, we go to our line trace by channel, we right click on our out hit, and then we select split struct pin. And then off of line trace by channel, apply damage. Again, I'll probably set it to about 5 this time. And then damaged actor attached to out hit, hit actor. And that's it. That's how it's going to take off the health. So compile and save. So now if we go into our third person character, quick way to go in, select, third person character, your AI, select your AI, and go to edit blueprint, open blueprint editor, and it'll take us into that character's blueprint. So we want to search for event, any damage again. We'll set up exactly the same like we set up the third person character. So if we go to variables, set his health up, so we're going to set to health, make it instance editable, change the variable type to float, compile, and we'll set this health to 10 so we can see quickly our blueprinting, and because we're going to set up an event as well for when this character dies. So off of event any damage, get your character's, the AI's health, get health. I'll do that slower. So select the variable and just drag it in, get health. Then search for minus again, float minus float. This one here. You want the damage, hook it up to the amount you want to take off. And then we're going to right click and we're going to set health. Just going to set our health. So it's going to take off the damage we've set in our third person character. So what we need to do now is we want to play an animation every time the character's hit. So we can do this, so compile and save. Sorry, we'll add a print string just of this so we know it's working. Print string. And we can change the color. If we just drop this down, we can change the color a bit. I'll change it to red so it's a bit clearer. So just double click on this little color square here and you can change the color. Compile and save. There we go. So now, if we right click on our reaction animation, so I've downloaded the reaction animation one from Mixamo. So we'll do the same thing we did for attack. So if we right click on our react animation, create, and then we're going to create an anim montage again. I'm going to name mine hit. Double click on this. I'm going to change the default group here, the slot. We're going to change it to our upper body again, so it plays mixed with the idle walk animations. And again, the same. Go to our asset browser at the bottom right and just drag the animation in and then delete one of these here if it splits it. And that's it, so save. So now if we go back into our blueprint, our AI character's blueprint, we can play this animation every time it takes damage. So off of the print string, I'm going to search for play montage. Get the skeletal mesh, so it's just the mesh up here in the top left in your components. Let's attach that. And then on montage to play, you want it to be your hit and a montage. So compile and save. So it's going to take, every time it takes damage, it's going to take health off. It's going to print string it so we can see if it's working, and it's going to play that hit montage. So now we can add our player character's Crosshair. So what you're going to do, go to your content browser, right click, go down to user interface, and you want to create a widget blueprint. I'm going to name this Crosshair. You can name it whatever you like. You're going to double click on it. You want to go to palette in the top left, down to image, and just drag this in. So if you go to your details on the right, down to appearance, down to brush, and just drop brush down. Where it says image, you can select your Crosshair. I've just created mine in Photoshop and applied a transparent background. So we need to make it the right size. You can do this by going up to size, where it says size X and size Y. I'm going to change size X to 50. I'm going to change size Y to 50, so it's the right size. So now we need to anchor it. So if we go to anchors, and where it says anchors, you want to anchor it to the middle. And then we just want to match it up, so we move up. We can see where it's directly in the middle. So to be a bit more precise, you can change position X and position Y here. I'm just going to slide it across, so it's directly in the middle. There we go. So compile and save. So we need to add this to the viewport now. So if we go to blueprints, into your third person character, and then right click, you want to search for event, begin play. Make sure you're in the event graph and right click and search for event, begin play, create widget. And then here you want to select your Crosshair, and then off of return value, add to viewport. So at the start of the game, it's going to fire this event off, create our widget blueprint, and add it to the viewport. So compile and save that. We can see it's added our Crosshair to the viewport. And wherever we fire, we go back into our third person character. You can see my camera, my character slightly to the side. I'll show you how to do that. So if you go to your third person character, you're going to go to viewport, select your follow camera, select your camera boom, go to details on the right, and you want socket offset. So it says offset at end of spring arm. Use this instead of relative offset of the attachment component to ensure the line trace works as desired. So it fires exactly, the line trace will fire out exactly where we want it to be. So you can see off and socket offset, if you go to your Y axis, you can move it off to the side, just like that. So just move it off to the side so you can see clearly your line trace and your player. So compile and save. Sorry, I'll go back in as well. Just check that's all correct. Yeah. If I want to click play, yeah, you can see it's off to the side. It's a bit too much, but I can fix that later. So now, as we've added the hit event and everything, so we're taking health of our AI character, and it should play the animation when it takes damage as well. So when I line my crosshair with the character, you can see every time I hit it, it takes health off and plays that hit animation as well. So we want our player character to be able to kill our AI character. So we can do this if we go into our AI character blueprint here, double click on it, get our health from our variables, get health, off of health, search for less than or equal to, and you want to leave this at 0. And then off of less than or equal to, you want to search for branch. And let's attach this here. So what we want is if our health is less than or equal to, so off of true, we want to play our death animation. So you just want to search for play, then go down to animation and play animation mesh. And then select your death animation. So mine's here. I'll show you the type of animation you need. We're going to my animations. Just something like this. Go back into my AI character blueprint. So what we've got so far is if our health is less than or equal to 0. If this is true, we're going to play our death animation. But this is just going to play the animation. We want to destroy the AI controller and have our character not follow our player anymore. So we can do this if we right click and search for get character movement. So get character movement. And then you want to search for set movement mode. Set movement mode. Attach this. You want to leave your movement mode as none. So if we right click, search for get AI controller, and then off of controlled actor, search for self. So get a reference to self. And then off of the return value of get AI controller, you want to search for get brain component. And off the brain component, you want to search for stop logic. Right, just move this over, make some space, and then finally, you want to destroy this capture component. Otherwise, your player character is going to keep bumping into it. So if you select this and drag it in, first things first, you want to search for is valid. So if this capture component is valid, you want to destroy component. And then off is valid, you want to destroy it. So I'll do that again because I did it quite quickly. Get your capture component. Off your capture component, search for is valid. And then a question mark, the one you want, the one with the question mark here. Attach stop logic to the exec here. Copy and paste this capture component here. And you want to off of the capture component, destroy component. And then off of is valid, attach the destroy component. So we compile and save. So there are a couple of problems that need fixing. So one of them is we can sneak up behind the AI and just take health off, and the AI doesn't do anything. The other one is we can keep, every time we hit it, it plays the death animation. So the first one we can fix, if we go into our AI controller and we want to set the can chase player blackboard key, the one, if we look in our behavior tree, the one that determines if we can chase us or not, to true when it takes damage. So if we select make literal name, get blackboard, and set value as bool, and just copy them, Control C, go into our AI, character blueprint, and then after play montage, just before the death event, I'll call it. So left click and detach play montage, and then Control V and paste it in here, and then attach play montage to set value as bool. So we want to set the bool true when it takes damage, and then just attach it to the branch here. So make sure you check this box. Compile and save. So now if we test this, it chases us when it takes damage. But again, we can still just carry on taking it and playing that animation. So we can fix this. So we only want all this to play when our health is greater than 0. So it's an easy fix. So just attach this, get your health, and then search for greater than. And if health is greater than 0, branch. If it's greater than 0, so for true, they'll play all these events. So it's chasing us, kill it, and then as the health is 0 and not greater than 0, it won't play any of those animations. So if we wanted to set up a situation where our own character can die, the player character similar to this one, it's just the same thing. So if we go to your third person character, or your player character, on the event, on the damage, so I'll set it so when their health reaches 0, our character will be destroyed. So if we get health, so get health less than or equal to again, and then we want if less than or equal to 0, this is true, so get a branch. We'll say if this is true, destroy actor. Or you can set your own condition up where it might play an animation, or a screen will come up saying like game over or something like that. So destroy actor, compile and save. So I'm going to test this. And then you can see our character's disappeared. It's been destroyed.